Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, we shall look at an example which is a practical example related to decimal numbers. Let us say we have a realistic situation of this kind. Let's say you are paid $37.50 per hour. You get paid, you get time and a half for any overtime overtime over your 40 hours week. If you worked 49 hours in a week, how much was your pay? That is the question. How much was your pay? So if that is what we have, let us break it down into these different steps. Step number one. Our regular hours, for our regular hours, we are getting paid $37.50 per hour. Our overtime pay, we're going to get time and a half. Let me write that here. Time and a half. Time and a half means for the first 40 hours we get paid $37.50. And then and a half is, we take the $37.50 and then divide that by 2. So when we do the math here, the first regular hours is $37.50 per hour, and then for the time and a half for the overtime, $37.50 divided by 2, that is going to be equal to $18.75. When we add these two numbers up, $37.50 plus our time and a half, which is $18.75, if we come up with the value of $56.25. So our regular hours, for our regular hours, we get paid $37.50. For the overtime hours, we should get paid at the rate of $56.25. That is what we have learned from this information which is provided to us. Now, as step 2, we're going to apply to the number of hours we worked. We worked for 49 hours. We worked, let's write that thing down here, worked for 49 hours. And how do we process this information? For the 40 hours we worked, we are getting paid for 40 hours. We're getting paid at the rate of $37.50, and when we multiply that out, that comes out as equal to 1500.00. Okay, and for the overtime hours, we worked for 49 hours. So the 9 hours is overtime. For the 9 hours, this is extra time or overtime. We want to process that as 9 hours times, we're going to multiply that by the amount which we arrived at was $56.25, and when we multiply that out, this value comes out as equal to $506.25. So for the first 40 hours we made $1,500, and for the 9 hours overtime or extra time, we're getting paid time and a half, so that amount translates to $56.25. So we take that dollar amount and multiply it to the number of hours we worked, which is 9 hours, and that value comes out as $506.25. Therefore now we are ready to add these two numbers, 1500 plus 506.25. That amount is going to, I will write here, for 49 hours you get paid these two numbers we want to add, 1500 plus 506.25. So that amount comes up to $2,000 $1,006.25. So this is the amount we should be looking for in our paycheck when we get the paycheck. So this is how we want to process information. These are all practical situations. The hourly wages could be in a decimal number, $37.50. The number of hours we might be working could be whole numbers or decimal numbers. So when we work overtime, we get paid time and a half. So we want to be able to process that information correctly. And then the number of hours we work extra time, we want to make sure that the regular hours we are calculated at we are paid at a certain rate, and for the overtime we are paid at another rate, and we want to make sure that we multiply those numbers correctly and add those numbers correctly, and therefore we should be able to process all of that information. And all of this information is a practical real world application problems related to decimal numbers. In my next presentation, we shall see how to perform order of operations with decimals.